Damned if I don't. Sometimes I will, sometimes I won't. Damned if I don't. Sometimes I will, sometimes I won't. Damned if I don't. Sometimes I won't. Damned if I don't. Sometimes, cause I can. If you're wondering why, it's because I'm a grown-ass man. Grown-ass man. Tell the truth, cause he knows it's because they don't know they need it. Feeling wrong in his own home. He know he right. Oh, this that good fight. Damned if I don't. Sometimes I will. Sometimes I won't. I'll be damned if I do. Damned if I don't. Sometimes I do. And sometimes I don't. Welcome to the huddle. Welcome to the huddle. I'll be damned. Damned if I do. Damned if I don't. Sometimes I will, and sometimes I won't. Essence of manhood. It's essence of being a hero, man. That's just the way it goes. But we got to fight the fight every day. Wake up and run the play. Welcome to the huddle. Each one reach one. Each one teach one. If you are that one, then you already know that you are enough. Enough to get it right when everything going all wrong. We know that your attention is the most powerful thing that you can pay. So if you paying me some attention right now in the moment or on the replay, I want you to know that I give my all to be worthy of it. I want to give a shout out to my executive producer, my wardrobe coordinator, my wife. She didn't tell me what to wear today. I picked out my own clothes. Wearing spring rain blue. We're in a time where you plant the seed. One of the most powerful things that the seed needs in the season of planting it is water. Water comes by ways of the storm. You got to know it's necessary. Blessed is the ones that endures the storm. It's what the seed need in this here season. Represent the rain. It's been raining all week. Want to give a shout out to my home girl, the greatest co-host in the whole world and the meta world. Alexa, tell me something good.
We all we got. We all we need.
Alexa, one time.
Good God Almighty, Trab P, you blanking.
She already know what type of show we finna have. See, the nice word is tool. T-O-O-L, tool. Tool. What's your favorite tool that you use? Do you have a set of tools that you always have access to help you fix things? Can you lose with the tools you lose? Alexa, what is the meaning of tools?
An instrument, often of metal, is defined as a tool. It is anything that enhances a person's capacity to alter the attributes of their surroundings or aid them in completing a chore. A hammer, saw, and file are all examples of tools. A tool can be anything from a sharp rock to an intricately designed machine. Did that answer your question?
What tools do you have?
The top result is Craftsman Versastaff Mechanics tool set, 1/4 in, 3/8 of an inch.
Alexa, stop. She ready tonight. I wasn't even talking to her no more. She over there ready to teach. Ho, Alexa. See, Alexa is a tool that I use in hero training. See, a tool is something that enhances your ability. It extends your ability. What tools do you use and what abilities do you have? Since Alexa want to teach, we're going to let her teach tonight. Alexa, what is the meaning of ability?
Ability is defined as the power or capacity to act, think, etc. It is also known as talent or aptitude to perform a certain act or service.
So a tool extends your ability. See, I have the ability. I have the ability to understand how auto mechanics work. But in this ability of understanding, I need tools to do the work of auto mechanics. I began to understand the power of tools from my friend Mike Shaw. He's a mechanic. I test my confidence to take a certain and do things for myself here in the latter future and now. So I say, hey, Mike, I got to change the alternator, what I need. He tell me a breakdown of the tools I need. Half-inch socket, a pulley bar, boom, 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 boom. I say, Mike, how you know all of this? He say, hey, man, this is what I do, man. I use my tools all day, man. I know what tools it takes to make it happen. So the more and more I understand this, I realize, well, in order to empower myself as a man, to be able to practice my abilities, whether it be my mental, my physical, my emotions, I say as a man, I got to keep some tools around me. Because that is the only way I can extend my ability. Ask this question. What is a man who has no tools? He can't do nothing. Especially at a time when you're the man and everybody depending on you. It's at a time when there's no convenience. There's no one to call. There's only you. There's women. There's children looking at you. What are you going to do? You have to have a mental recollection of what kind of tools do I got available. If you got some tools, you got a possibility. You got a possibility of taking your opportunity past its limitations. See, if we ain't got no tools, then our limitations stop here. Well, there's a pipe leaking and water going everywhere, but I ain't got no tools. I can't fix it. So now you got to get on the phone and call another man who got the tools. And you can be a man sitting here looking at the problem, knowing the solution, but you don't have the ability, and your talents and your understanding has limitations because you simply don't have the tools. The question is more powerful than the answer. What type of tools do you got? Brother Calvin Cook, what's going on, man? Welcome to the huddle, brother. First time I saw you comment in the huddle. I just want to let you understand, man, that if you paying me some attention right now, I already know, and everybody else know, that you one of the ones, brother. You one of the ones to get it all right when everything going all wrong. Welcome to the huddle. Each one reach one. Each one teach one. We all we got. We all we need. What's going on, Jerome? Young hero. Stay strong, my brother. I believe in you, man. I say it's the spring season. We endure storms, but the storm come with everything that the soul needs to grow. Water. I know you're in a storm, young brother. Blessed is the one who endures to the end. Brother Kamiron, you already know, let's get it. See, these are tools. These brothers having the consciousness, the humility to let me know, hey, brother, I'm paying you some attention. See, I use this as a tool to enhance my momentum, to anchor down in my purpose, a tool to tightening up and strengthen my confidence and worth to know that, hey, man, we hero training. See, we all are tools to each other. Reverend Ike used to always say, and then you know who Reverend Ike is, he was one of the first prosperity preachers in the 80s. I mean, he was on TV with thousands. He would drive a Rolls Royce, and he was one of the first preachers that talked about money. And one of his lines was, "You can't lose with the tools we use." And it sounded like a riddle, but he was telling the truth. And he was using the Bible. But what he really was teaching was the law of attraction. He was showing you that there's mind power when you can use your mind as a tool. See, a tool helps imagination turn into manifestation. My wife says she wants a new floor. I can see it, I can imagine it. It's two ways to get there. I could make a phone call and pay somebody, or I could realize what tools it takes, a table saw, a tape measure. And I can use the tools to manifest my abilities to lay down a floor and make my wife look at me like, oh my God, my man can do anything. But deep down inside, I know now, baby, it's just the tools I use. See how they work? But Reverend Ike would always say, you can't lose with the tools I use. Law of attraction. The first law of attraction is mentalism. You got to see it to be it. We all can come together and talk about mishaps, frustrations, failures, losses, and we all can come and say, man, life is hard. But very, very rarely do we come together and we talk about the first downs, the touchdowns, the wins, not understanding or focusing on the things that we went through to get to, but we talk about the destination that brings us to this moment. No matter what pain we've been through, we all in this moment at the same time to know that we training to keep on winning. See, that's a tool right there. That's a tool. That's an understanding. And when you get in the storm, when you get in the rubble, when you get in the darkness and you use your understanding as a tool to bring you out to say, this is how it works. This is the cycle of it. Ain't nobody above the bullshit, but the bullshit will make you better if you real enough to deal with it. How do you deal with something? You equip yourself with the proper tools. How do you deal with a hot water heater in the middle of the night that won't get hot? You keep a tester-meter so that you can test the continuity in the thermostat, in the elements. so that you can test the continuity in the voltage, in the breaker. You keep a spare thermostat and a spare element. And you keep an electronical Phillips head screwdriver. And when it's in a cold night in the winter and your children got to go to school in the morning and you don't have any hot water, you ain't worried because you got the tools necessary to handle your abilities and make them manifest hot water in the middle of a cold night. That's the power of tools. I had this conversation today, man. It's what really brought me to tools. I looked at a conversation on Facebook where some brothers was sharing knowledge, and they was sharing a post that had been viral about if the transatlantic slave trade really happened, because there's no evidence of slave ships. And this narrative has been coming about, and I'm going to just be honest because I'm teaching in a way, if you understand and you can eat the meat and spit out the bones, this narrative come by way of a Moorish science rhetoric that was started by the noble Drew Ali, that got all the black people who suffer in a crisis identity in America wanting to be any goddamn thing to affiliate their name with. So this wants to be indigenous, to say we ain't really come from Africa, we was already here. It's kind of like woke talk. See, the only thing that beats rhetoric is fact, understanding, right? We're in a time where we say, do your research. When somebody said they done their research, I asked them, what tools did you use? See, at once upon a time before the internet, you had to go to the library. You had to use certain type of tools, whether it was an encyclopedia, almanac. It was certain tools that you use to get to the source of information. What tools do you use? But I've been talking this for years. Use many tools. So I just wanted to drop some truth. Not to be right or wrong, but to give some truth to some brothers so that they may walk the path to understand, and to not be a parroting rhetoric that they don't understand, because that's all that come about of the woke man. So one of the people say, man, this is ChatGPT. We can't even have a conversation no more. Man, this is ChatGPT. He shamed what I put because he said it was ChatGPT. But I understood what I put. So I say, man, this is powerful. This is powerful. This is where we at with tools. This is why we don't have anything in schools teaching the young youth how to use tools. Only a fool rejects a tool. So I told this brother in the chat, I said, listen, brother, I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to put 196 hours. That's almost 2 months. You can watch me talk, regular talk in my own words, if you want to hear what I got to say. But I say, but if you ain't got time for that, then I think I've earned the right to use a tool called ChatGPT to give you information to understand, to find truth. See, we so goddamn backwards. We'll despise and shame the tool and be a fool to not even understand that's a bridge over our limitations. See how that works? So when it's in my spirit, right? It's real life. I ain't talking make believe. I go to my big brother Wood Spot, Third Phase, Body Oils, all your essentials, Afrocentric, shea butter, oils, all your natural shampoos, anything that cater to our culture. Third Phase on Graham Street, Yellow Building with the lion. So I go there for the hero experience because I always get it when I go. When you go around love, you get and you give. It's a real life story. So a 16-year-old son, 15-year-old son was in uniform working in the family business, which is already powerful. And he was creating labels for a product. So I asked him about that product. I said, man, tell me about that product. They had a chakra system on it. Just tell me about that. He said, I don't really know about it. I said, well, I appreciate you for being honest. I said, but I think you're doing a good job at designing it. And you're making a good point for what it is. So I asked him, I said, I'm going to just run this test. So well, what do you think about ChatGPT? He said, I'm really not a big fan of it. I'm not a big fan of AI, but I get it. That's the future. I say, you're the future. I said, why you don't understand? I said, why you not a fan of it? He said, well, I think it does a lot of things that we can do for ourselves. I said, yeah. I said, but it's a tool, right? He said, no, I didn't really understand and look at it like that. I say, in AI, what does the A stand for? I said, artificial. I said, what is the meaning of artificial? So fake, not really real. So what's the opposite of artificial? I'm talking with a 15-year-old. So what's the opposite of artificial? He said, real. I say, well, if that's fake artificial, where's the real intelligence at? He said, in my mind. I said, so don't you ever fear the fake. The fake becomes a tool that helps you get over the bridge. So I pulled it up. And I told it, I said, look, I want you to see something. I said, give me a breakdown of the chakra system in a way that's simple that a 5-year-old can understand it. Boom, 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 boom. We looked at it. So you received that. I said, I'm going to send this to you. See, it's a tool. I say, now you're equipped to understand what you are creating. And any time you don't have a full understanding of what you are creating, see, there's tools all around you that will help you strong, faster, more powerful. That's what a tool do when you understand how to use it. That's what a tool do. So I said, so put this in your toolbox. Do you understand it? He said, yes, sir. I say, and don't you ever, as a young man who's building the future, I say, your daddy is building you. You are the future. When you know you are the future, I'm talking to a 15-year-old. I say, don't you fear anything fake in the future when you are the future who have real intelligence. So we'll clown each other for using the tool. I asked him, I said, well, what's the difference between ChatGPT and Google? He said, I don't think it's pretty much I don't know. I said, well, they're both information tanks. Why don't you dislike Google? See, you ain't been taught to see it like that. But it's 2025. And we don't see this as a tool, but they call it a smartphone. And there's no reason for anybody who's walking around with a smartphone who has the tool of information and understanding to ever not know when they have the supreme tool in their hand most of the time of the day. That's the power of a tool. So I can give somebody all the tools it takes to build a house. But if they don't understand mathematics, they can't make it come out right. They don't understand how to use the tools. They can't make it come out right. And they'll hate the tools. They'll despise the tools. So as a man, as a woman, as an adult, what kind of tools you got access to? What kind of tools you got access to? Let's say this hero training. You got to know what matters to who matters. You got to get real for real. You celebrate all the holidays, birthdays, Christmas, and everything. What you want for Christmas? That's a simple question. And I just want to suggest that if you're a man with responsibility, this is a clear way to get tools that you need that will keep you from losing. Instead of want some bullshit, how about you just want a pressure washer for Christmas one time? And it ain't always got to be about business. How about you just have the tools to put a water hose with power to it to clean something that you care for? It's the only difference that makes you getting your house pressure washed if you having the tool to spread with a water hose that got power. But if you ain't got the tools, then you ain't got the ability, and you limited to what you could do. And when you limited to what you can do because you don't have the ability or the tools, you become vulnerable. So that's when they say knowledge is power. That determines if you're powerless or not. And if you're real good with your tools, you go to a level they call professionalism. So this is a real conversation. It's a real conversation, man. If you got some young boys at the house, what's going on, Trey Prue? You already know what time it is. Good to see you, sister. It's been a long time. Good to see you in the huddle. So if you got some young men in the house or around, keep some tools, man. Start building your tools up, man. This goes into when I say we all we got, we all we need. You'd be surprised, man, the abilities and how you can surpass the limitations if you just have the right tools around for people to really show you what they can do. You'd be surprised. You'd be surprised. I want to tell a story. This ain't necessarily about a tool about fixing something. But a tool extends your ability. A tool makes something comes from an idea into manifestation. I was talking about my brother Derek Huey, guitar player. I want to tell the story. It's real talk, this real life. He's the same age as my dad is. Up in them 60s, about to hit 70. I worked with him. I was his supervisor. He had been through some things, but he was going through to get to. And I know I can say that today because he in a powerful place that I respect and gives me the ability to understand and tell this story. But one day we was in the office and I was over there with this white dude. And I had been talking to Derek over time, and he would tell me, yeah, Trav, man, I used to play that guitar like a mud dog. I say, yeah. We were just talking because he knew I was in the music. So I was over across the street in the offices, and I needed somebody to bring me something from the plant. So I called. I said, will you have Derek bring me whatever it was? So Derek come over there. I say, what's up, Derek? This white guy's name was Todd. He had a guitar in the corner. I say, Derek, you say you play that guitar, man. Pick that thing up, man. Let me see what you got. He said, go ahead on. You know, it's like Johnny on the spot. So he showed me enough to know he wasn't lying. White dude was inspired. Man, you really can play. He said, yeah, you know. So some things happened. I left. He went his way. I went mine. A couple years later, we linked back up. He said, Trav, man, I want to let you know, man, I went through some things, but when you made me pick that guitar up, man, that was the first time I picked up a guitar in years, Trav. And I'm holding it today, man, because you told me to pick that guitar up. And I just want to let you know, in any way you need me, man, I got your back. And I got a video where I show my band playing under my carport, but he was in that. He had the red guitar. And he taught me, man, that he called his guitar, he called it an axe. He said, man, when I get my axe, Trav, I feel like, man, I can swing it anywhere. And he showed me that's a tool. He got music in his head all the time. But his guitar become a tool, an instrument that extend his ability to manifest it from out his head into your ears. And I love watching him work his tool. He's a master of that tool. And he can't lose if that's the tools he uses. That's why I always say the question is more powerful than the answer. What tools do you have? What tools do you have? Communication is a tool. Can you use it? Understanding is a tool. Can you use it? When you understand we all we got, we all we need, we become a tool. Can you use me? I hope you click in to use me for inspiration, motivation, direction. Just to know, do an inventory. Today I was over there at the same spot. I'm talking, feeling good. My lens fell out my glasses. Blue-doo. I say, what the fuck? Need some new glasses. Been through a lot with these glasses. So I pick my lens up, almost embarrassed. I flip it over and look at it, and it's a little old teeny screw. I say, Wood, man, you got a little screwdriver? Say, no. I go around, everybody asking all his workers, do you know where a little screwdriver is? Everybody say, no. So Wood say, I got a pocket knife. So I'm trying to get the pocket knife, but I can't get the pocket knife to turn the itty bitty teeny little old screw. So I say, I know what? In the back of my truck, I got a hell of a tool bag. I'm confident in my tools. That's why I can say right now, man, I keep some tools. I'm ready for war no matter what go down. Boy, I'm ready. So I go rambling through my bag. I'm looking through my bag, but I can't find a small enough screwdriver to fix this tiny, tiny screw on my glasses. I'm frustrated. Call my wife. I said, I got to go down to the glasses place. My glasses broke. I can't see. But I got a warranty on the glasses, so now I'm defaulting to my solution since I don't have the tools. So I drive all the way down to Concord, and I go in there. She's like, hey, man, help. I said, my glasses broke. This is kind of humbling. Kind of brought me to the word that I'm using tonight. Tools. Tool. Frustrated. So she said, let me see. And she go pull out this itty-weedy little bit of screwdriver that's about the size of a toothpick. And I watched this woman use that tool and tighten that thing up in a way that I couldn't get to it. And she looked so mechanical. And was looking at me like, look at here, big strong man who look like he know how to use all the tools, he can fix everything, and you had to come all the way down here for me to fix your little glasses. And she just looked at me with that little tool she used. And I was so thankful that she fixed my glasses, but I left and I told myself one thing. I'm going to get me that goddamn little ass tool. I'm going to get me an eyeglasses tool set tomorrow. That's what made the difference. I didn't have the tools. I had a whole bag of tools. I told my boy, I can fix anything right now in the back of my truck. I got a tool bag in the back of my truck. I didn't have a screwdriver small enough to fix my glasses. That's the power of a tool. That's the power of a tool right there. No matter what I know, no matter what I understood, no matter what I could do, I was limited because I didn't have a screwdriver that was small and tiny enough. Fit in that damn groove. What kind of tool you got? What kind of tool you got? And don't make no tool good or bad. That's what man, what I talk about, they talk about, don't make no tool good or bad. It's all about the intentions behind the tool. See, a hammer is a hammer. A hammer is a hammer. And if you use a hammer and what it was designed for as a tool, a hammer is designed to drive nails. There's different types of hammers for different things. But the general use of a hammer is to drive nails. And you may not believe this or not, but in Levels of Leadership Summer Camp with Men of Destiny and Hero Training, we give a group of young men 2x4s and a box of nails, and we teach them and let them practice on driving a nail through a piece of wood with a hammer. And you'll be surprised how many of these young men get surprised that just driving a nail through a piece of wood with a hammer ain't as easy as you think. So they got to learn how to use the tool called the hammer. It's a real way to use a hammer now. And when they get good with the tool, from the beginning of understanding the tool, some of them be able to drive the nail with one apakatao. And some of them still can't line it up, and their nail go crooked, their nail go sideways. They keep happening to hit it 4 or 5 times, but there's some that master the tool to drive the nail with one stroke. Boom, boom. And then there's somebody on the other side of town that'll never pick up a hammer to ever put a piece of nail in a piece of wood and never ever give a damn about understanding what this tool was designed for. They pick up the hammer to bust or knock the shit out of something that ain't goddamn supposed to be bust or knock the shit out of. So that's the difference between understanding the objectiveness of a tool and the subjectiveness of a tool. It's about the intentions. It's about the intentions. It's about surpassing the limitations without it. It's about understanding the process. I saw a mechanic get down to certain type parts of doing things, and they get stopped. And they say, "What's wrong?" They say, "I ain't got no tool. I ain't know this, but I looked it up, and they said that this is a dealership tool, and the only way you can get this tool to get this boat off is you got to go rent the tool from the dealership." Say, what? Say, well, wonder why they made it like that. Because you got to go rent the tool from the dealership. And if you understand that more and more, you'll realize that some things are meant to come back to the dealership to be dealt with. See, that's the difference between the dealership and the side shop. If you buy a Chevrolet and you take it to the Chevrolet dealership, they got specialized tools that's only manufactured for the technicians that deal with Chevrolets. And the job and the diagnostics and the process becomes so much more efficient, faster, and powerful because they have designed special tools for any situation and circumstance. If you go to the side shop, he can't get the tools. So he got to find a way around. Telling you some real life shit. Shout out to Ant, a Ford master. I had an expedition one time that kept on skipping. I changed spark plugs. I changed coil. I did everything. I said, dang, man, it won't work. I had to take it to a master. He came out and hooked the laptop up to my truck. And he didn't go get no toolbox. He went and got one tool. And he looked at his computer. And he took that little tool down there. And he said, that's it right there, man. I say, how you know that? He was like, man, my program just showed me. You know, I'm looking at all the meters. And I say, well, you can't lose with the tools you use. I say, can I get that program? He said, nah, man, can't nobody, you know, you can only get this through the dealership. We can't even get it out. That's how he talked. That's why I'm talking like that. So it taught me. Boy, you got to understand how tools work. Boy, you got to understand how tools work. Boy, you got to be real with it. But I ain't going to get out of here, man. I'm going to go on here. You know, I feel good tonight. Get that book. That's a tool. Hero training is a tool. Hero training, man, is about discipline. It's about understanding how it works and knowing your position in it. And when you understand how it works and knowing your position in it, the power becomes yours to be or not to be. Will you be the one who has tools to understand your conditions, your circumstance? They say if you stay ready, you ain't never got to get ready. So your position as a hero is to always be ready for whatever fucking come at any time. That's what you call being a man. Or woman in her position. So if you prepare for that, will you be that kind or will you not be? The choice and the power is yours. So hero training is a tool to help you see yourself in it. An intelligent person's knowledge and wisdom is my tool. You right, Trey Prue. And the more and more you understand it, the more and more you define it, the more and more you tune it in, the more and more you test it and watch how it works and you know how to work it. Be the most powerful you can be. And that ain't compared by nobody into nothing. That compares by what you see when you close your eyes and imagine. And that tool becomes the thing that erases the limitations. See how that works? You see how that works? What kind of ideals do you have? So that's the tool right there. Can you see it? What you see? If you can see some fucked up shit, then you're on your way to be some fucked up shit. And if you can see some fucked up shit, life will give you all the tools to build and create some fucked up shit. That's just how that worked too. See, I'm the son of a jump man. See, I was cultivated in destroying and breaking down. I was like a prodigy in recycling air conditions when I was 9 years old. My daddy and my granddaddy would brag on me how fast I could strip an air condition down. I could break it all the way down out the shell, take all the copper, take all the aluminum, separate it. They would always say, watch how fast my grandboy and my boy can break down an air condition. And my main tools that I used was a sludge hammer, a crowbar, and some bolt cutters. Those were my main three tools. And I knew how to hit that sludge hammer on every corner and make everything buckle. So I was good at tearing something down. I hadn't yet discovered the ability to fix something. I was built to tear this shit down. And could nobody use the tools I used like I could. Even grown men couldn't. I'm talking about that 9 and 10 years old. Even a grown man couldn't do it with the tools I used. So I'm making that point to say, it's people with some powerful tools that know how to use them. But they ain't got the right intentions to build, create, fix, or maintain. They using them tools to tear some shit down. So you better have some understanding and tools. I have grown into a better me. I'm growing, baby. I'm better than who I used to be. I've been on this journey for 46 years. I had some good times as well as I have shed some tears. I'm getting better and better every day, feeling like I'm moving in the right way. I love y'all. Shout out to my brother Pravis, brother Kamaran, brother Wood, brother Bam, brother Black, brother Crump, brother Winston, my brother Munn, brothers on the trucking line, brother Chris, my wife, my son, my daughter. Give a shout out to everybody who has supported me and brought a book. Swipe Jones, I love you for your commercial. You are enough. Tojo. You already know what time it is, Black. We all we got. We all we need. Wagwan. If we really understand we all we got, we all we need, we all tools for each other to be used by each other. The whole essence is not to abuse one another. Use me, brother. Use me, brother. I love y'all, man. See y'all next week, man. Hold me down.